These are the closing costs you can expect to pay as a seller in the state of Oklahoma if you're selling your house. Hi, this is Keith May with Keller Williams Realty in Central Oklahoma. I put out real estate content that's hopefully valuable on my real estate YouTube channel about 3 times a month, along with other portals. I'm talking today about closing costs for sellers. You know, for years, closing costs were sort of split, if you will, between buyer and seller, and you still hear that vernacular a lot. Oh, we split closing costs, or oh, we're going to split closing costs. Well, that's a misnomer now. Over 10 years ago, the fees that were split are really no longer split, maybe just a couple. So I'm going to outline the fees as a seller you can expect to pay when selling your house. Some are required, some are not required, and here we go with that. The first cost is prorated taxes. Now, property taxes, aren't a closing cost. It feels like it's because your portion of the closing costs for the year have to be paid at closing. So if you're closing your property September 30th, for example, then a full 10 months from January 1st to September 30th, right before October, have to be collected, and the buyer's billed for the remaining 3 months. So it's not a closing cost. It feels like it because you can't close unless your property taxes are paid, for example. And the next thing is commissions, if applicable. It's not really a closing cost. Certainly a good realtor can provide a whole lot of value in the transaction, smoother, quicker, generally more time, more efficient. The next item on the list, and this is a standard list from the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission, is buyer closing costs. A buyer can ask you to pay some of their closing costs, and that's negotiable. It's not required. That's different from the aforementioned fees that used to be split. It's fees the buyer could ask you that aren't required. Now, these are the fees that are required when selling your house, no matter what the transactions are. They're summarized in title charges and local government charges, and I'll go through that list right now. The settlement fee, is near $200. The abstracting, depending on the age of the abstract, the price of the house, how long since the abstract has been brought up to date if you refinanced, might be near $700-800 if you're basing it on a $250,000 house, depending on the age. By the way, Oklahoma is one of 2 states in America that do abstracting, so this fee doesn't apply in most states. There could be a few miscellaneous small fees in addition to that, but if they are, they're going to be nominal. Now, local government fees, the recording fees, about $50 to file the deed and things of that nature, maybe a little less. Mortgage tax is not applicable for a seller. A buyer pays that. Documentary tax stamps are required to sell a house. It's a tax to sell a house paid to the county. It's $1.50 per thousand, so the same $250,000 house, you're looking at $375 in documentary tax stamps. Now, here are some additional fees that aren't required, and sometimes there's no way out of that. The survey, it used to be a seller charge, now it's a buyer charge, so that one doesn't really apply. There can be loan requirements made when the appraiser comes to the property, especially on a government loan, FHA and VA. Things have to be fixed if they're not safe, sound, and sanitary, different than an inspection. We're talking about loan requirements here. Next is the dreaded treatments and repairs, or the TRR. You know, not required. Most times it's hard to get out of doing a few repairs on your house if you want to sell it for the same $250,000 house. Prudent to put in there and factor in $750, $1,000 maybe on fix-its. Wood destroying organisms, that's a buyer charge to have the house inspected for termites unless it's VA. Now, If it has termites, most buyers are going to be asking you, the seller, to pay for termites. The home warranty, again, not required, would be about $500 to $600. And HOA prorations, sorta required. You can pay it directly, separately to the HOA, but if you haven't paid your dues, they're going to want their money at closing, similar to taxes. And some HOAs have third-party management companies that require a fee to search to make sure the HOA dues are brought up to date. So again, the required fees are title and government fees. Now, a good realtor can help you sort all this out. It's required by law that we go over an estimate of net expenses to a seller, spell it all out, tell you the things to expect, what not to expect, give you some different scenarios. Again, my name is Keith May with Keller Williams Realty. If you found this YouTube video valuable, please share it. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Keith May Real Estate, Central Oklahoma, or you can comment below. I'll have all my information in a link and a landing page in the description of this video, and you can communicate with me there. And I love to have phone calls too. I'm at 405-833-2626. That's my direct number. Thank you.